Hello everyone, it's Simon here with a review of Super Dodgeball Beats. Super Dodgeball Beats is available on PlayStation 4, which is the version you see on your screen, but also Nintendo Switch, Xbox One and PC. It's a 1 to 2 player experience that can be played locally only. There is a comprehensive story mode with several leagues to go through to unlock other bits and bobs as you go along. This game in principle reminds me a little bit of the PlayStation 1 classic series Buster Groove or Buster Move. I adored those games. It was two dance parties going up against each other, and then you'd have the rhythm action element going on, and then you had the ability to chuck power-ups at each other to put each other off. This takes that format and puts it in a dodgeball environment. However, there is literally no dodgeball going on in this game whatsoever, so it feels like a really weird theme, but I kind of understand why they've done it. Each team has has 4 characters, and they're mapped to the face buttons on your controller of choice. So for PlayStation 4, for me, I was using the symbol buttons. Each character then has a circle around it, and that's kind of like if you was playing a rhythm action game, your hit chart. And then circles will come in and constrict, and then when the 2 circles meet, that's when you hit your button to kind of go on with the timing. It's slightly disappointing that there's no latency settings in any of the options, so you're going to have to go with standard. So if you've got a really slow TV that's out of whack with your audio, you're going to struggle a little bit with this game. Thankfully, I didn't find many problems. I did find, though, that occasionally some of the timing just seemed to be off in the charts in general. So I can see some of the trophies and achievements for having like complete perfects going on for like 1,000 hits in a row. Very, very, very difficult to achieve. However, as you're going along, there's 3 different types of moves that you can do. The first one is just the general taps, which are very, very simple. Then you'll have larger, thicker circles, and they're ones that you have to press and hold, and they'll kind of fill up in a 360-degree rotation. When they hit 360 degrees and 100%, let go, and that's counted as a hit. And then you also have the interesting slides, and these come down as like vinyl discs because this has a whole 90s theme going on about it, which I do really enjoy. And it's the vinyl will hit on one of the characters, and it will have a track telling you which direction it's going in. And essentially, you leave the left analog stick to press and hold in the direction it's going to go, and when it hits the person it's going to, you just let go of the analog stick, and it just breaks up the button pressing as you go along. Each track has 3 different difficulties that you go through. Easy is just literally doing one thing after another, and that's quite fine. But it was really in the pro and elite sections where like the charts really do kind of come to life with the actual music itself. I didn't find the music to be massively like influentially exciting and like a huge part of the gaming experience. There are some catchy themes in there, but nothing that will absolutely blow me away. But the charts are actually quite well aligned on the harder difficulties to how the music actually runs, and I appreciated that. However, the soundtrack is not like going to be the be all and end all, like big I must go out and buy that because they're all catchy and stuck in my head, that I think they hoped it would be. Each of the songs is related to a different team. There are 11 different teams in the game, and if you're playing through single player mode, you'll have to basically go round them in like a league format and play each game. And each theme. Then there's like points awarded, so 3 for a win, 1 for a draw, 0 for a loss, and then you'll progress up the ranks to playoffs, and then quarterfinals, semi-finals, finals, and then you'll progress to like the next stage of difficulty. As you're dealing with all of this, all of the points that you gain will then unlock more attacks and more mascots. And this is kind of like the aggressive power-up section of Super Dodgeball Beats. Alongside your 4 characters that you control, you'll also have a mascot that you can control with a trigger button. Each mascot has a couple of power-ups under their hat that they can throw either at the your opponents. Get it out your mouth, Simon. So that you can basically cause them mischief, and sometimes it will put like donuts at their feet so you can't exactly see where the circles meet. It might be that they've put dynamite in your hand so that as soon as you make a mistake it blows you up and you lose a couple of seconds of being able to actually do the rhythm action side of stuff. In a really odd design choice, the power-ups are something that you can't actually choose which one you send over. You do get to choose which mascots that you take into the game. And each mascot has an array of 2 or 3 different power-ups, so you kind of know the general gist of what you'll be dealing with, but the game will decide at random which one it's going to chuck over, and I can only assume that that's been decided on because some power-ups are way more effective than others, so it's to stop players basically spamming the really powerful ones over and over again so that you don't get into like a horrible stalemate. A stalemate, though, is often where the game finishes, and this brings me to the downside of Super Dodgeball Beats. Up on the top of the screen you've got a power meter which is essentially deciding who is winning and who is losing. Think of a beat 'em up game. Whoever's got the skull kind of in their side is who is winning over the course of time. And you can see there's a section in the middle where it's like no one's land. If you've got 2 competent players going up against each other, or you're going up against the really, really competent extreme AI, so often you will be in a stalemate by the end of the game, and then no one wins and you kind of think, well, meh, what was the point in that? And that's because the power-ups often cancel each other out because you aren't able to like be really strategic in when you use them and which one you're going to throw over, essentially. The other issue is that if you take off the power-ups, if you're able to do so, the rhythm action element would still then leave you a stalemate in the middle because you have to go quite a way to get a balance of power over your opponent to be deemed like a proper winner. And so too often, actually, when you're playing on really hard difficulty but doing very well, you'll just be stalemate, and then it feels unfair because you may have actually won in theory, but the game will just go meh, draw. So yeah, my time with Super Dodgeball Beats has been really, really interesting. There's a really good premise of a game and a concept of a game here that I think would work really well in a sequel with a really, really punchy, cheesy and catchy soundtrack. Like, just go balls out with it and go nuts. A little bit more thought around how the power-ups work and the balance of play with all of that, and some latency option controls would be really, really handy as well, because the basis of something really, really excellent and spectacular is here. This isn't quite formed just yet, but I think a sequel with some really, really good tweaks would be an absolutely superb experience to have. And if there was ever the opportunity to do so, having a local 4-player multiplayer in here where you can aim your weapons and power-ups at different opponents could be proper tricky to deal with and good fun. So yeah, any comments or suggestions, leave them down in the comments below and I'll get back to you on them. That was Super Dodgeball Beats. Happy gaming! This channel is just one of my many projects that cover games, music and film. If you enjoy any of these and would consider supporting me to develop further in the future, you can do so by visiting patreon.com/Satorimon. Thank you for your time and for watching the video.